What if Qui-Gon stopped Anakin from killing the Tusken Raiders? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Anakin slowly rises to his feet and reaches for his lightsaber. The whole world falls silent in his eyes, everything except the alien shouts from outside. The Tusken Raiders. The monsters are responsible for this. He ignites his saber and prepares to make his way out. Each step has its vision turning red. The training he had learned as a Jedi was forgotten. The lessons of Obi-Wan and the Jedi Order are all tossed aside. The only thing on his mind is rage. It burns in his heart like a burning coal and demands justice or vengeance. It does not matter. All that matters is that something must die. The need for destruction calls for him. Already he can hear voices coming from outside the tent, bellowing incoherently, but doubtlessly wondering what that sound came from. He raises his lightsaber and prepares to cut them down, but something tugs at him.
Anakin, don't.
For a moment, Anakin freezes with his lightsaber raised over his head, but then he shakes his head and says it was just the wind, then prepares to move out again. But another breeze rustles the tent.
Anakin, this isn't you.
This time there is no mistaking the voice, and as the tent flaps billow, a shape starts to materialize. Anakin prepares to swing at it, but freezes as he sees the kindly face of Qui-Gon, who offers a grim look and raises his hand out in front of him.
Anakin, this is not the way of the Force. Please, I beg you not to go through with this.
No, this isn't real.
Believe me, I wish it wasn't either. But I am here, my boy, and I am here to warn you not to go through with this.
You're dead. What does a ghost know about these things?
So is your mother, Anakin. She died believing, knowing you're a good man, Anakin. She died proud of who you are. Do not sully her memory by betraying that hope.
Anakin whirls back and glares at the Force Ghost. His eyes are blazing, and his rage briefly takes hold. But then something stops him. A fresh stab of pain as the memory replays in his mind. How kindly his mother spoke to him, even in her last moments. How much she believed in him.
Mother. She died proud of you, Anakin. As did I. Please, don't do this.
With that, Qui-Gon's spectral shape begins to fade away, leaving Anakin alone. Another gust blows from the tent, this time outwards, as the last residues of Qui-Gon disappear. From beyond, the Tusken Raiders mutter amongst themselves and follow after it. Qui-Gon's last gift, a distraction for Anakin to escape. Taking his mother's body, Anakin cuts through the back of the tent and disappears into the desert. When Anakin returns to Padme a few days later, he is bearing his mother's body and a despondent expression. But beneath those sad eyes, she sees something else, a glimmer of wisdom she didn't see before. In a way, Anakin also comes back wiser and a bit stronger. Though the memory of her death is raw, it is soothed somewhat by the words of her and Qui-Gon. He says none of this to Padme, simply asking her to help give Shmi a proper send-off. When they at last burn her remains, Padme touches his arm.
Annie, are you okay?
I don't know. I can't tell. Is it okay to feel this angry and sad at the same time? Is it normal to feel happy? To know that she loved me and respected the man I became? How can I feel that even when she's gone?
You feel it because you're human, Annie. When we lose someone, we think back to all of those memories. We think back to what we lost and what we had. We wonder what might have been. All of those things are normal to feel. It just means you care about them.
Yeah, I did. I truly did. I just wish I could have been there for her before the very end. I wanted to see her happy just as much as she wanted me to be a Jedi.
She did, Anakin. In her last moments, you granted her what she always wanted to see. All you can do now is treasure those memories.
Anakin smiles, as those are just the words he needed. For a moment, he breathes a bit easier, and they spend their time simply enjoying the quiet of Tatooine. That is, until reality drags them back, as they receive word of trouble on Geonosis. Obi-Wan was captured after investigating the mysterious bounty hunter, and learning that he was hired by Count Dooku, who was secretly building an army against the Republic. The two of them journey there, but this rescue mission soon turns chaotic, as the Count captures them and nearly executes them. It is only because of the Jedi's timely arrival in the clone army that saves them. But this is just the spark that begins the Clone Wars. The Jedi soon find themselves being drafted into the war. With one of their commanders in the CIS, they can't avoid responsibility, and many volunteer. For Anakin, this is the least of his concerns, as his mind is elsewhere, thinking back to what he encountered on Tatooine. Qui-Gon visited him, and there is no denying that. Yet the Jedi archives contain no information of the sort. To Jedi like Jocasta Nu, it is as if this power never existed. The closest he can find are texts of Sith illusions and phantoms, but these are nothing like what he saw. Anakin dared not tell anyone except Yoda and Obi-Wan. Both are equally skeptical of what they hear, but they also notice the determination in Anakin's eyes. It wasn't some mere illusion to him, and in truth, neither one of them wants to think so either. Both of them missed Qui-Gon, especially Obi-Wan.
You say he came to you during a moment before you fell to the dark side.
Yes, he stopped me before I could make a terrible mistake. That is why I'm certain this isn't some illusion of the dark side, Master. I felt him. He knew things about me.
Anakin, I believe you. I see how you stand now. Your presence radiates calm. You seem wiser, more mature, just how Qui-Gon would have wanted you. Whatever you saw has affected you. Still, I have not heard of such a power.
Never before have I heard of such a power. But unlike any other Jedi, Qui-Gon was. Mastered the living force, he did. The path is difficult. Know something we did not. He must have. Skywalker, learn this path. You must.
Me? What about Obi-Wan? I'm just a Padawan.
Anakin, he came to you. He must have seen something inside of you. We agree that you should pursue this path.
Help you, I will. Use what knowledge I have of the living force to guide you. But make no mistake, your path is this, and yours alone.
Then, I will do everything I can to make him proud.
I know you will. And when you do, please give him my regards.
When the two finish planning, they depart the Jedi Temple in Coruscant altogether. They cannot train in a place like this, so instead, Yoda takes Anakin to places where the Force flows strongly. Rather than have him take part in the Clone Wars, Yoda claims that he is helping train Anakin to temper his emotions. Partially true, but leaving out some of the details. The two journey across the galaxy, looking for places strong in the Force. Places like Dantooine, Naboo, and Dagobah, which are largely untouched by the chaos of the galaxy and remain in their neutral state. Here, the two Jedi meditate and draw on their connections in the Force. On Kashyyyk, the forest is alive with the hum of unseen creatures and the slow stir of wind through moss-covered branches. Shafts of sunlight pierce the canopy, speckling the soft earth where Anakin kneels beside Yoda. His eyes are closed, hands resting lightly on his knees, but his breath stutters. He's trying. Yoda says nothing. Only the rustling leaves and distant calls of wild things fill the silence between them. Anakin struggles to relax. When he listens, all he hears are the howls of beasts nearby and the hisses of creatures that want to attack them. His hand reaches for his lightsaber, but Yoda clears his throat. The small Jedi is seated in front of him, eyes closed and with a serene look on his face.
Listen deeper, beyond sound. Hear the beasts you do, but hear the world you must.
Anakin draws in a breath and lets go. Slowly, the distractions loosen their grip. The chirping insects, the howling of beasts, the creaking of trees. They don't vanish, but instead become threads in something larger. He begins to feel it. The Force. Not as a power or weapon, but as a presence. As warmth. Life.
There. Feel it, you do. The tree's roots. The fear of the creature hiding behind it. The joy of the bird above.
It's gentle.
Always it is. Even in pain. The Force mourns, yes, but clings. It does not.
A breeze stirs Anakin's cloak. For a moment, his mind wanders. Too fast. He flinches as his mother's face flashes through him. Her pain, her dying breath. His fists clench.
No. Let it pass through you. Let it speak. But act not from it.
Anakin inhales again, slower this time. He allows the memory to surface. not to control him, but to exist beside him. Shmi appears, not broken or bloodied, but smiling. Whole. She says nothing, but there is a peace in her gaze. Anakin's breath shudders once, then steadies.
I miss her. Miss Qui-Gon, I do. And even Dooku. Miss her, you may. Love her, always. But cling. No. Let go of what you fear to lose. Not because it is unimportant, but because it cannot be held.
The forest seems to breathe with him. He opens his eyes, calmer now. Something has shifted. Later that night, as Anakin sits alone beside a campfire, a faint shimmer moves across the flame. He doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. Qui-Gon kneels across from him, more presence than image, his voice like wind through grass.
You're learning. You're not failing her. You're finding yourself.
Anakin closes his eyes again. He breathes in the smoke, the earth, the life surrounding him. The fear is still there, but it no longer rules him. The Force does. Seeing how well their studies are progressing, Yoda decides to leave Anakin to continue his studies while the ancient Jedi returns to Coruscant to take his place on the Jedi Council. Though he wishes to stay with him, he knows that will not be possible with the war. They are already anxious enough to have him gone for so long. So Yoda and Anakin part ways, sharing their thanks and leaving Anakin to travel alone. The Jedi doesn't stop with feeling and sensing beings. He wants to use this to his advantage. Anakin begins to hunt, searching for the faintest traces of a being and tracking them down. He uses Force tracking like Qui-Gon, strengthening his connections with the Force, and works with non-Force sensitives to refine this power further. He also learns to manifest his presence across different places, like how Qui-Gon appears to him as a ghost. In Anakin's case, he learns how to appear in people's dreams, how to reach out to beings he is familiar with, and perhaps catch glimpses of them as he meditates. There is so much he can learn, and he would be glad to spend an eternity learning it, but Anakin does not have that luxury. As this happens, the war is going on, and they need every Jedi they can to take part in the war effort. Mace and other members of the Jedi Council reach out to him and try to convince him to join the fight. As far as they are concerned, Anakin's training was for them to master these abilities and to use them against the dark side. Now that time has come. Of course, by now, Anakin has already begun doing that in his way. He's been traveling across the Outer Rim and helping those affected by the war. He focuses on individual villages, small backwater planets, and a few isolated outposts. These are places the Republic has long ignored, and Anakin fills that gap, all the while hiding out on Dagobah. He even begins helping CIS worlds that are afflicted with famine or facing the brunt of the war. To Anakin, suffering is suffering, and Anakin makes no difference between the CIS and the Republic. While some are impressed by his compassion, others see Anakin as enabling the CIS in their tyranny. The silence of Dagobah is sacred. Even the creatures know not to disturb the stillness near the old tree where Anakin meditates. By now, they know him, almost as one of their own. His breathing syncs with the shallow rhythm of the swamp. Through the Force, he reaches beyond the veil, feeling familiar minds across systems, dreams drifting like whispers, a starving child he met on Raxus, a broken father on Felucia, a wounded guardsman who still believes in peace. Anakin sends warmth, presence, something just short of words. All of those people he's met are befriended, but as he smiles, the silence cracks. A ripple tears through the Force, sharp and sudden. Birds scream from the canopy. The ground trembles. Anakin opens his eyes. A wave of energy, wrong, manufactured, rolls in from the east. Moments later, fire erupts on the horizon. Vulture droids scream overhead, firing their blaster cannons at anything that moves, while hyena bombers drop their ordnance on the forest below, sending the trees up in flames. All around him, the creatures shriek and hiss in panic and pain. Their presence is nearly overwhelming. For a moment, Anakin falls to his knees, but then collects himself. Anakin doesn't wait. He races through the swamp, limbs moving with purpose. He channels the Force to his side. Rocks are thrown with the precision of guided missiles, knocking down fighters. Roots appear and snap at the slower bombers, and the swamps come alive as flying beasts attack them in perfect formation. The attack is small but deadly. Large parts of the forest go up in flames. As he tries to put out the fires, something tugs the back of his mind. Anakin knows he's been found. Someone wanted him gone from here. By nightfall, Dagobah burns behind him. He escapes in an old transport, leaving behind the silence he once called home. The Force still guides him, but it does not reassure him. This attack wasn't random. Someone wanted to drag him back into the open. Coruscant welcomes him with no celebration, but bureaucracy. The Council meets him in private.
You've had your time to prepare. Now we need you, Anakin. The Republic needs you.
I've already been helping people. I've seen things the war reports don't mention. Entire systems are starving. Villages left undefended while we debate on the Senate floor, while the Jedi discuss strategy on troop movements. How can we call ourselves peacekeepers?
You've been working outside the Order. That's not the Jedi way.
The Jedi way is to serve the Force and the people. If we've lost sight of that, then what are we fighting for?
He's got a point.
Compassion is not disobedience. But this war isn't about helping villages. It's about stopping the Sith. That requires focus, unity.
Behind the scenes, Palpatine watches the recording of the council sessions in his chambers. His fingers curl around the edge of his seat as he listens to Anakin speak the truth. Dangerous truth. Yet the council ignores him, treating him like a radical, just as he had hoped. In the end, the council gets their way, and Anakin agrees to serve on the front lines. He takes command of a unit and does win some victories, but rather than fight where the chaos is at its thickest, Anakin instead goes into secondary fronts, places with little importance and where the people are often forgotten. Although he wins victories and remains as creative as ever on the battlefield, defeating the CIS is not his priority. Building networks is his goal. Wherever he goes, he strives to help repair relations with the people who have felt forgotten. Anakin uses his troops closer to a humanitarian corps, working to rebuild settlements, hear out their complaints, and hold leaders on both sides accountable. Sometimes he even goes to help CIS civilians, seeing them as just as responsible, and he also does not hold back about his feelings about the Jedi Council and the Republic. He talks about how he feels that they have lost their way and no longer respect the people. To the civilians, it is a hard truth they have been saying for years. They all nod in agreement and cheer his name. To make it worse, a few of the Jedi even agree with him. Many of the younger Jedi, whose optimism and idealism have been damaged by the Jedi's growing indifference to the suffering, begin to rally to their side. All the while, the cracks between him and the Council widen, and Palpatine smiles. Anakin stands in the war-torn ruins of a city on Deck 6. Smoke rises from collapsed buildings behind him, their air thick with dust and tension. Anakin leads his forces into battle, cutting through the ranks of the droid forces as they make their way to the governor's palace. Across from him, in a shattered plaza once used for celebrations, stands an army of fallen droids as his clones advance deeper and move to secure the main building. Anakin leads the charge and makes his way inside. They advance inside, and the few remaining droids fall before them. But as Anakin reaches the top of the building, he sees Governor Tawny standing before him, along with a few commando droids, in her hands a detonator.
Not a step further, Jedi. One more move and I'll blow the explosives rigged across the city.
Are you insane? You'll be killing all of your people too, Governor.
Maybe, but they will die for what they believed in. Better that than live as Republic slaves.
You're angry. I understand that.
You don't understand anything.
Anakin steps forward and then detaches his lightsaber, kicking it aside.
I do. I'm not here to argue about politics. I've seen what this war has done. To both sides. If I were one of you, if I lived in a system where corruption choked out my future, where the Senate turned a deaf ear, yes, I might have rebelled too.
And yet you stopped us.
I did. But I'm not blind. I know the Republic failed you, and the Jedi. We were supposed to be peacekeepers, guardians of the people. But we let ourselves become generals, symbols of war. I'm not proud of that. But we can fix this. Not with another battle. Not with more dead children. Now please, give me the detonator.
Tawny stares at the Jedi in disbelief, unsure if she's hearing it right. But there is something so compelling about him and the way he talks. Slowly, she hands it over to him, and her droids stand down. By nightfall, the holonet plays only part of the meeting. I might have rebelled too. The Republic failed you. The Jedi, we were supposed to be peacekeepers, but... All clipped, twisted, out of context. The headlines are everywhere that portray the eccentric Jedi hero as a traitor, one who admits to feeling love for the CIS and the suffering they had caused. Palpatine's allies waste no time in using this, calling out the Jedi and questioning how many more of their people believe in this. The Chancellor is more conciliatory, admitting he does not think Anakin is a traitor, but says the Jedi must be disciplined, lest it break morale. Palpatine's allies in the Senate, Masamada, Orn Free-Ta, begin calling for more inquiry into the Jedi's loyalty. Behind the scenes, Palpatine says nothing publicly, but he praises the Council for considering discipline. In the Council chamber, Mace Windu stares at the projection with a clenched jaw.
Some might call this sedition.
A deeper truth. Young Skywalker speaks. But reckless his timing was. Still, punish him I will not.
Still, we know that Dooku and the Sith control the CIS. To show sympathy for them, even indirectly, could undermine our cause and make others, even within our order, reconsider how critical it is to defeat them.
There is a difference between sympathizing with an institution and its people. I believe this is all a farce.
We must consider what the public will think, and the Senate. We cannot afford to lose them at this time.
We've already lost one, but will we truly allow ourselves to become enslaved by the other?
The debate rages all throughout the night about what to do, but in the end, majority of the Jedi Council votes in favor of expelling Anakin. When Anakin hears the news, he storms out of the Jedi Council chambers without a word. They see betrayal in his compassion, treason in his honesty. He returns to the Outer Rim, unburdened, no longer bound by Jedi rules. He dives even deeper into relief work. His robes are muddy, his hands are calloused. He lifts crates of food instead of sabers. He repairs homes instead of slicing droids. On some days, he feels more like a Jedi than ever, and still, he speaks. In small villages and forgotten towns, he denounces the hypocrisy of the Council. He tells the people that the Jedi were supposed to serve them, not the Senate. The stories spread. So does hope. So does suspicion. Then comes the fire. It starts at dusk. An explosion in the supply depot of a refugee village on Gli Selim. Civilians scream and scatter as droids pour out of the forests, followed by a cloaked figure draped in shadow. Anakin at first thinks it was the Republic retaliating, but instead sees droids, and with them, Count Dooku steps into the flames like a ghost. Anakin doesn't hesitate. His lightsaber ignites in a blur of blue. He sees the fire around him. His anger flashes, and their lightsabers clash. Dooku strikes with precision, but Anakin fights with fury. Not just because of the battle, but because this was a village of survivors, children, wounded, families, and now it burns. When Dooku advances, thrusting his lightsaber forward and forcing him back, Anakin slides under these attacks, batting them aside or sidestepping each one. He advances against him, sweeping his saber and tries to drive it down, but Dooku parries it. Their lightsabers lock, and Dooku looks down at him.
You speak of peace, but you reek of conflict. You always have since you became the Republic's dog.
You destroyed everything. You pretend to fight corruption while becoming the worst of it. He batters his defenses and leaps at him, trying to slash his lightsaber down. Dooku avoids the attack and then tries to dive at him. They battle across rooftops, down the square, where flames rise like demons. Then finally he disarms Dooku with a brutal sweep and drives him to his knees, blade at the Count's throat.
Well, strike me down. Isn't that what the Jedi do now?
Anakin trembles. The heat of the fire matches the storm in his chest. For a moment, his saber rises, fingers twitching.
What would Qui-Gon think of you now?
The words freeze him, and for the first time in what feels like years, Anakin listens, not to his rage, but to the quiet, the Force. What would he think of you? Dooku's eyes falter. His mouth opens, then closes. No answer comes. Anakin lowers his saber. I won't kill you. Not because you deserve it, but because he would want better for you. He steps back. Dooku stares up at him confused, lost. And then Anakin taps his forehead, showing Dooku the memories of Qui-Gon he's never seen. He shows Qui-Gon appearing to Anakin as a ghost and visiting him to stop from falling to the dark side. He shows Qui-Gon appearing in his dreams, encouraging him and saying that he is on the right path. Hearing his apprentice's voice once again sends shivers down his spine. Dooku collapses to his knees, looking up at Anakin, and knows immediately what the answer is to the question. Later, in the still burning remnants of the village, they sit beneath a half-collapsed shelter. Droids deactivated. The villagers are safe. Anakin doesn't gloat. He asks,
Qui-Gon always believed too much in people, in the Council, in me.
He still believes. He believes in me. That's why you're still alive. There is a long pause.
I will tell you everything.
He tells him about the war, about Palpatine's alliance with him, and how they work together to undermine the Republic, and the two plan on how to stop him. With their plan, Anakin begins contacting his old friends in the Jedi Order, those who know he is innocent, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Plo Koon, and Quinlan Vos. He asks for their help, and soon enough a ship arrives to pick them up. They arrive near the temple's lower levels, hood drawn, arms crossed. Dooku steps beside him slowly, cloaked in plain robes. A few Jedi are there to greet them, old friends. There's no arrest order, no formal inquiry. They slip through service corridors, bypassing temple guards and patrols, following hidden passages Quinlan discovered as a Padawan. He doesn't use brute force. He uses silence, timing, and the Force, and they slip out onto the floor. Once outside, they are relaxed as their small group makes its way to the Senate building. Dooku remains in the center, hidden from them and easy to miss in the crowd. Inside Palpatine's private chambers, the curtains are drawn and shadows cling to the walls. Palpatine stands before them as he was expecting it.
Count Dooku, you bring your assassins to finish me at last.
I bring your sins to light. Will you go quietly, or shall this need to get difficult?
It's over. Palpatine's smile fades. Then, suddenly his eyes blaze yellow. Lightning erupts from his fingertips, striking Dooku first and hurling him back. Anakin lunges, blade flashing, but the Chancellor draws a saber from beneath his robes and meets him with unnatural speed. Outside, the battle rages as the other Jedi battle with the Chancellor's guards. Anakin fights them like a storm unleashed, striking furiously as windows shatter from the pressure of their duel. Palpatine hurls debris, twists the Force like a blade. Anakin shatters through each obstacle and shatters the debris into dust. He then strikes his lightsaber forward and tries to strike him, but Palpatine bats his attack aside. The Chancellor counters with a series of quick strikes, trying to off-balance him, but the Jedi does not give ground until Dooku arrives, who drives his lightsaber forward. The older men clash as he nearly impales Palpatine's stomach. The dark side emanates from the two, their auras warring as they trade blows. Anakin moves to join them, tempted to unleash his own powers as well and summon the dark powers he's felt, but then remembers Qui-Gon's voice, the village, Dooku's redemption, and he channels clarity, not anger. Instead, Anakin takes a deep breath and launches himself at him, drawing not on his power, but just his old strength. Palpatine laughs and sees this as a weakness. His weapon flashes, but Anakin cleaves Sidious's blade away, then drives his saber through the Sith Lord's chest. Palpatine gasps, his eyes wide with rage and disbelief, then fades into the Force, burning to nothing. Silence. The feed is recorded, and the two send everything. On top of that, Dooku wastes no time in confessing all his actions. He gladly reveals everything, showing off recordings and hidden plans they made. The Jedi are stunned, especially as they admit that they took advantage of genuine concern and dissatisfaction from the people. Seeing this, the Jedi see the error of their ways, and Anakin's followers urge them to take action and begin reforming the Jedi Order. Anakin is made the new Grand Master as Yoda steps down, and Dooku works to bring the CIS back to heel and finally negotiate peace. That's our story. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.